Today, on Be Something Wonderful, this will change every idea you have about shifting realities. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video this morning. Welcome to the studios of Be Something Wonderful here in Las Vegas. I want to talk about this client yesterday. He's been on the channel. I have never talked with him before. It's the first time talking with him. He's been on the channel for a while, but he just wanted to share how his life has changed over the past several months. And wanted to talk about a few videos that really resonated with him. I'm going to go over that today, a few recent videos actually that he talked about. And so his story was, his identity was someone that was always struggled in his career and struggled with money. And he goes, Tom, it's a story I made up. It's a past that I created over and over again. I perpetuated that identity that had that linear past that was struggle, bringing that to my present and continuing to create a future of struggling when it wasn't my story. I changed my story. I changed my identity, that I thrive in my career, or he said I advance in my career. I use the word thrive. He said that I advance in my career, that I always have enough money. Money's never an issue. Money's always coming to me. And now he is thriving. He has money. He now says, I am experiencing the physical evidence, but I don't need it anymore. I know that I create it all. I want to talk about this and some of the ideas that he brought up during our session. So remember this video that I did, I think a week or two ago, on a 3-step, the AIM manifesting method or technique, right? That you create a portal that you walk through when you assume your wish fulfilled, when you imagine it, and when you move in that new identity. You assume that new reality, that new identity. You imagine that new identity, and you move through 3D in that new identity. That creates that you're not only assuming it, you're creating in that moment. You're walking through the portal, right, of that new identity and that new reality, that new you, that now moment, right? You're collapsing the linear experience, right? You're folding. It's like he used the idea of like I felt like I walked through a wormhole. A wormhole, right? A quantum wormhole where he has collapsed or folded the linear experience and walked directly into that new identity. This is powerful. We're going to talk about this idea today, right? We talked about this in a video where you're focusing on fulfillment now. Assume your desired end. Imagine your desired end and move in your desired end. Remember, the past is not remembered as a fact, although we do. We remember it. We believe we're remembering the facts. We're remembering some fact. It's actually created by who you decide you are right now as a new experience in the present moment. By who you decide you are. That's powerful. Past, present, and future created from that new identity. Your journey to your wish fulfilled and your new identity in life begins and ends in the end. These are some of the ideas that he was bringing up that I've talked about on the channel. He goes, Tom, I love it, the 2 steps. I talked about this idea a few days ago, the 2 steps of go to the end and stay there. Go to that new identity and stay there. That changes your linear past. Remember, when you're a new identity in the present, when you decide and define who you are now, that past linear experience that you remember no longer belongs to you. It belongs to that other identity, that old identity that you no longer are. Do you see it? But again, that experience or that identity had brought you to the point to redefine who you want to be right now, creating a new identity with a new past. That's powerful. We're going to talk about this idea. You create and walk through this quantum portal to your new reality as you assume and imagine it and move in that knowing, move in that new identity. So, and he shared this. He goes, Tom, I resonated with some of your past videos where you've talked about clients that said, I've assumed and imagined and all of that. but it's been months or no change or nothing's happened. He goes, that's what I went through, where it felt like nothing was changing. And then I really got it that everything's changing. Everything changed, changing, and is changing and will change. Everything changes, and will change right here and right now. It all happened or is happening or will happen right now. He could teach a masterclass in this, right? You are still bound by waiting and for looking for movement in the linear experience of time and space. Do you see it? When you're looking out there and saying nothing's moved, it's been months, you're still bound by linear time. You've already moved. You've already assumed it. You're in that new identity. And you've resurrected your dream reality. You've occupied that new identity, but you're still bound by the linear experience. You're binding yourself by that idea of linear time and linear experience. And things have to move from the past. The past creates the present creates the future, right? I often talked about this in past videos when Jesus raised Lazarus. And Lazarus was standing there, resurrected, but still blindfolded, was bound, right? Not blindfolded, but had cloths on him, was still bound in his grave clothes. Still bound by the linear experience. This is you. Still bound by the linear. You're resurrected. You are in that new identity. But you're not seeing it. Just like as Lazarus had that cloth over his eyes and was bound at his hands and feet. You're bound by that linear experience. That's why Jesus, representing your I am, says unbind him and let him go. I am that new identity. Unbind yourself by assuming that and declaring that. Unbind yourself from the linear time and space experience right now. You're looking for, waiting for, and trying to make changes where change is impossible. The 3D reality and version of you that you believe is out there. There's nothing out there, so there's nothing to change. Do you see it there? You're trying to make change where it's impossible. You're looking for things and waiting for change where change is impossible. Right? You're not changing any reality. You're not changing any version of yourself. You're moving, walking through the portal to that new version of you. That old version has that old past, right? That linear experience that's no longer your preference. You're that new reality, new version that has a different reality, a different preference, a different linear past, and a different linear future. This is powerful. So, reality in the infinite you is changeless. So you don't change anything, anyone, or yourself. Right? It's changeless. Instead, you walk through the portal. Right? This client was talking about the wormhole. I love it. Remember, you fold reality up and you walk straight through. Right? You're to the already changed reality, or in other words, the alternative parallel reality and version of you. Right? That alternative reality. So it's not about changing or healing or fixing or improving or bringing something back or someone back. A lot of you talk about bringing someone back who has died. It's not about bringing anyone back. No one's lost. No one went anywhere. It's all here and now. Right? It's not overcoming anything. Right? Those are all linear ideas in the illusion of movement in time and space. Right? Your fixed beliefs and assumptions that keep you bound to that experience, right? Like Lazarus, bound in the grave clothes. When in reality, you are in a new frame, walking through a new time-space portal in every moment, shifting realities now, in every moment you're walking through that portal. In every moment you're walking through a wormhole. And you're in a new version of yourself. You have a new linear past in every moment. But we decide to remember one certain experience and define that as who we are. We create that past now, though, as we remember it. And as we decide who we are now. Which creates that linear future right now. That's powerful. So here you are. Remember, that's the horizontal experience. But remember, you're always, in fact, you are the portal. That's why Jesus said, I am the door. You are the door to all versions of yourself, to all realities. So as you stand in this present moment, this linear experience where you have the past that you believe in, the present circumstances that you believe these conditions are real, and that hope for future, well, you're actually always standing in the door, the portal to all realities, right? I am the door. You're always in the vertical, having a horizontal experience. You're always in the vertical, or what Abraham Hicks would call the vortex, right? But remember, you are the vertical. You are the vortex. So it's not about getting in the vortex. You're already in it. You are the vortex. You are the vertical. You are the door. I am the door. I am the vortex. I am the vertical, right? And so, so as you assume your wish fulfilled, you have a new linear experience that begins to unfold. Do you see it? There's a new past, a new future as you walk through that portal, right? In some ways, if you think about it, you're folding the linear experience. You're collapsing time and space. You're folding reality, right? Collapsing time and space, folding the horizontal experience. And you're in the vertical where you move through the door to everything you want. Do you see it? And then it unfolds. The new experience, the new you, unfolds in linear time. That's why we always say it's unfolding. Because you fold it up as you create that new reality, as you walk through the door of that new reality. Right? You collapse time and space. Right? And then as you walk through that door and you occupy that new version of yourself, the linear experience of being that new you unfolds. You have a new past, a new present, and a new future, all based on the new you that is walked through that door right now, that portal. As you assume, imagine, and move in your new identity and reality, the so-called linear experience folds into the vertical reality. It folds, that experience folds, and then the new linear experience unfolds in that physical. Do you see it? That's pretty cool. When we say your wish fulfilled is unfolding, we're not kidding. Right? Literally, space-time is unfolding according to this new identity. Do you see it? Right? There's only you in the vertical. But you have the experience of collapsing time and space as you declare this new identity. And then that new you, that new linear experience unfolding with that new past, that new present, and that new future. That's a powerful thought. We'll get back to this. You are literally, Bashar talks about this really, really in a powerful way. You are literally a new person, identity, and version of you, occupying a new frame of reality in every moment. In other words, experiencing yourself as all that is from another infinite vantage point, viewpoint, perspective, as defined by your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions, or in other words, as Bashar says, your definitions of who you are, about who you are in your relationship to the world. That's why Jesus said, "Who do you say I am?" You are in the world, but you're not of the world. That's what that means. You decide what world is going to come from within you, right? You decide that right now. Your definitions decides that. And when you say when you define yourself differently, you create a new past linear experience, a new future linear experience. You are new in that moment. You're walking through that portal or that wormhole. You have collapsed time and space. You have folded the horizontal experience to walk through the door and allow a new linear experience to unfold through you as you. Right? That's powerful. So, from your assumptions, beliefs, and definitions of who you are in this moment, this identity, you create a different past and future that aligns linearly with who you are now. This is what this client did, right, over this past year. And another one I talked about as well, the artist I talked about a few days ago. Her story is the same way. They walked, they aligned, they created a new past, a new present, a new future. They absolutely walked through a portal the door of a new identity, walked into a new identity. You create your past and future from the present, all of it. So when you are remembering the past, you're creating that linear relationship now as you remember that past. So you're creating it. But when you assume, imagine, and move in your new preferred identity and reality, those memories from an identity and past that you no longer choose or prefer are no longer yours, but belong to that other version of you. Hear this. So even if you can remember something from a past that you believed you've lived, when you assume, imagine, and move in your new preferred identity and reality, those memories no longer belong to you. You can remember them. Remember, everything, what is a memory? It's an imaginal act. You can imagine anything, right? But they no longer belong to the identity you are now. They no longer belong to that preferred identity. They belong to that other version of you. It was that experience as that other version that brought you to the point to decide who you prefer to be now, that has a different past than that old version of you. You have a new past, right? So that unwanted past of whatever drama and trauma is no longer your linear past. So it's not about ignoring the past or trying to fix it or trying to heal it or trying to change it. It's simply not your past anymore. Yes, you can remember it. And yes, that was one infinite experience that brought you to a point to define yourself anew, to define who you are now, and to create an identity that now no longer has that as a linear past. That's powerful. You accept it as one identity and experience of the multidimensional you that helps you define who you prefer to be now, your new identity. That past, that old identity had helped you become the person you are now. That past, that old identity helped you become the person you are now. You are now that has a different past. So that past identity, that old identity helped you become the person or the version of you are now that has a different past. Powerful. That past identity, that past linear past that is no longer yours. Help you define who you are now, who you desire to be, your preference, that created a new identity that has a different past from that old identity. That's powerful. But then some of, like he said, he used to ask that question, but why do I remember that as my past, to experience? Remember, to remember is an imaginal act. You can imagine anything. You can be aware of anything as that awareness within which it takes place. But it's no longer your linear past. It belongs to that other identity, right? It's still you. It's another identity of you. But it belongs to that identity. And it was that identity in that past experience that moved you to the vantage point to redefine who you are now, that created a new identity that no longer has that past that helps you get to where you are now. Whew, that's powerful. But those past experiences and memories belong to that other identity, not to who you are now. That's big. So I hope you're following this today. So the past you remember, the present you assume, the future you imagine is all created by how and who you define yourself to be right now. In other words, you unbind yourself from the linear definitions and experiences, collapsing time and space, folding the no longer preferred identity and linear experience into the vertical, and allowing the new linear experience to unfold from this new chosen identity and reality. As I showed here, right? As that old reality folds into the vertical, as you move into that new identity, that new experience, as it unfolds, that new identity, that linear experience unfolds. And you have a new past, a new future, and your new you. So that, again, you unbind yourself from the linear definitions and experiences, collapsing time and space, folding the no longer preferred identity and linear experience into the vertical, allowing the new linear experience to unfold from this new chosen identity and reality that has a different linear past, where that old identity, that old linear experience moved you to an identity, right? It moved you to a point where you could choose a new preferred identity that has an entirely different linear past. It's no longer who you are or who you were. Wow. Or who you will be. Right? There's no delay. That's a linear idea. This discussion I saw that came up a few times, the delay, why is there a delay in 3D? Well, you're creating the delay. You're creating the idea. You're that new identity when you decide it. And then it unfolds in linear time. There's no delay. You're the only delay. Your focus, your awareness. There's no other delay. It's all happening right now. It's all simultaneous. So you can make a concession and talk about the idea of a delay, but then you create that, right? So no matter how many times, I mean, on a basic level, I hear it, spiritual teachers talk about the delay in 3D, but that separates 3D from you. It separates you from being all that is. So transcend that idea and know that it's all unfolding right now. Yes, but you go, but yes, Tom, it happened. That past happened to me. It all happened. It all's happening. It all will happen. Creation's finished. All those pasts exist. But you are no longer that identity that happened to. You're a different identity now. That experience, that old identity, that version of you. Remember, you've had all experiences. You're all identities. It's all happened, it's all happening, and all will happen. But you choose to no longer be that identity, so that comes with a new past. This is a powerful concept we've talked about, but never like we're talking about it today. That's why in Scripture it says, one of my favorites, John 8:58, before Abraham was, I am. Before time and space, before the whole linear experience, is just the vertical, I am. That's the vertical, that's the vortex. Right? Before the manifestation and idea of time and space, there's just now, there's I am awareness. All linear experiences are quantum potential, either to be remembered and identified with or not, based on your I am identity now, by your definitions and assumptions of who you are now. You get to decide what quantum potential, what quantum linear experience that you're going to call your past, or what you're going to call who you are now. The script is written, as A Course in Miracles says, so all those potentials exist. All potential scripts or linear experiences, in other words, Abraham, right, exist before all scripts, before all linear experiences. I am. They exist in potential. And then when you choose the film role or identity, remember, it's like choosing the movie of your life. When you choose that film role identity, you change or choose a new script or a new linear story unfolds of events that you're now rewatching and remembering now. Remember, it all happened, is happening, and will happen. So it's almost like you're watching a rerun that you don't remember. That to you, it's like the first time. Right? This linear experience, the past is really the past past. The present's really the past present. The future's really the past future. All of those exist in potential that you would call almost the past, because they already existed or exist before Abraham. But it's all now. And you get to decide what film role, what movie you're going to watch. And that new experience of having that linear experience from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint, is how all that is expands or becomes more. Right? I think one of you asked, well, Tom, I don't understand what evolution means. I said that on yesterday's video, or the idea of evolving. You create the experience of evolution, of evolving. You're a fully evolved being. You're in all realities, all potential, all possibilities, all at once. And we see that potential from infinite vantage points, viewpoints, and experiences and perspectives. And there's no end to how you can experience all that isness. That's what evolution means. You're continually evolving, but you're also fully evolved. That's what infinity means. It's done, but it's also expanding at the same time. There are no borders, right? That's powerful. So this will change every idea you have about shifting realities. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining us on TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, for being part of our membership channel. As I said, over the last week and a half now, we've released 2 new videos, plus a live stream at the end of December that we just released a few weeks ago. We have another live stream scheduled on our 10th live stream, scheduled on the membership channel on January 28th, 2024. It's a Sunday morning. It's our first live stream of 2024 on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. Send your questions to info@besomethingwonderful.com. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom with the Be Something Wonderful studios here in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.